Hi, I am Dr. Marilyn Carroll, and I have a special message I want to share with you today: the difference between a career and a body of work. I have spent years watching talented leaders climb organizational ladders. Some became directors, some became vice presidents, some became deans, provosts, and executives. Many of them were successful until they were not. Suddenly, the title that defined them is gone. And with it comes a difficult question: who am I without the role? A restructuring happens, a merger occurs, a retirement arrives, a position is eliminated, a new administration takes over. The longer I work with leaders, the more convinced I become that there is a profound difference between building a career and building a body of work. A career belongs to an organization. A body of work belongs to you. A career is reflected in an organizational chart. A body of work is reflected in the people you have impacted, the ideas you have developed, the knowledge you have shared, and the value you have created. A title is rented. A body of work is owned. There are two kinds of capital. One is a career, and the other is a body of work. A danger for many leaders is spending decades investing in organizational capital while neglecting personal capital. Organizational capital is what makes you valuable inside the company. Personal capital is what makes you valuable outside of it. The most resilient leaders build both. They perform their roles with excellence while simultaneously developing the expertise, relationships, ideas, and contributions that travel with them beyond the boundaries of any single organization. This is not an argument against ambition. Organizations need leaders. Promotions matter, responsibility, but titles are temporary. And the question that outlasts them is whether your influence ends when the title does. This is why some people retire from a senior position and become nearly invisible within a year. The position carried the influence. Once the position was gone, so was the audience. Others leave a role and somehow become more influential. Their influence was never dependent on the position in the first place. The lanes you lay down before you need them. Titles still matter. They provide access, resources, and opportunities. But titles are often a lagging indicator of influence, not its source. She climbed an organizational ladder. You built a professional platform. Both require effort, both require skill, but they produce very different outcomes over time. A ladder only goes as high as the building. A platform can keep expanding long after you've left the building. A few weeks ago, I wrote a piece called "What Now? What Next?" Working through it, I kept noticing how many accomplished leaders arrive at a moment of transition with no answer to those two questions. They moved up through the ranks of an organization, which is not a bad thing, but they did so on a single track. A ladder only goes as high as the building. A body of work can outlive the building itself. Don't build your identity on a position you do not own. Build it on the capabilities, contributions, relationships, and ideas that travel with you. Here is what I have come to believe about continuous learning. As you keep learning, you are quietly building lanes of knowledge you can later accelerate into. The leader who has laid down several lanes has somewhere to go when their track ends. The leader who has only ever known one lane has nowhere to accelerate. When the paperwork arrives, the retirement, the layoff, the eliminated role, it's the absence of other lanes that leaves so many people stranded. They have nothing else to draw on. I know this because it is the path I chose. I started laying lanes long before I needed them. From accounting to finance and risk to investment management to higher education to building 19 products, services, and organizations to AI governance to building authorios to authorship to coaching, these are all lanes I have traveled or currently travel. I have spent long stretches inside organizations, 17 years in one chapter, substantial runs in others, enough time in each to make a real difference. And as I made those differences, I deliberately went down different lanes. I learned things that had nothing to do with my next promotion. I built capabilities the org chart never asked me to build. I did not make it to the very top of every one of those ladders. That was never the point. I made it to the top of my game, to the top of what I do. And what I do came with me. That distinction is the whole essay. Here is what I have come to believe about continuous learning. As you keep learning, you are quietly building lanes of knowledge you can later accelerate into. The leader who has laid down several lanes has somewhere to go when their track ends. The leader who has only ever known one lane has nowhere to accelerate when the paperwork arrives. The retirement, the layoff, the eliminated role, that absence of other lanes is what leaves so many people stranded. They have nothing else to draw on. I know this because it is the path I chose. A ladder only goes as high as the building. A body of work can outlive the building itself. Don't build your identity on a position you do not own. Build it on the capabilities, contributions, relationships, and ideas that travel with you. What I only understood today, there is a version of this I understood differently today. I am spending a month with my grandchildren while their family prepares to move to a new city. My granddaughter is 3. She chooses her own clothes, reaches for the song she wants to hear, and works a puzzle with a focus that stops me in my tracks. Her brother is barely a year and a half, and already he studies how things are built, how a car is put together, how one block holds the weight of another. Neither of them has a title. Neither has a role to lose. What they have is capability, laid down before there is even a word for it. They are, in the purest sense, all body of work and no resume. That is what we are trying to find our way back to, not the title, the self underneath it. The one that was laying down lanes long before anyone handed us a position and will go on laying them down long after the position is gone, because eventually every title ends. A title is rented. A body of work is owned. I know this because they are paths I chose to travel, and what can I do came with me. Now I feel compelled to help others. This is why I have built a program to help. Here is what I have come to believe about continuous learning. As you keep learning, you are quietly building lanes of knowledge you can later accelerate into. The leader who has laid down several lanes has somewhere to go when their track ends. The leader who has only ever known one lane has nowhere to accelerate. When the paperwork arrives, the retirement, the layoff, the eliminated role, it's the absence of other lanes that leaves so many people stranded. They have nothing else to draw on. The professional who thrives in the AI age isn't the specialist or the generalist. It's the integrator, the modern polymath who draws from many disciplines to solve problems that don't fit in one box. Not because they know more, because they see more. If you've felt the ground shift under what I know, and you'd rather build what's next than defend what was, the founding cohort of the Future Ready Professional was designed for you. Most professional development gives you content. You don't need more content. AI gives you that for free. The Future Ready Professional gives you what content can't. A cohort of accomplished peers you couldn't assemble on your own. Decision labs where the cohort works on your real high-stakes problems. A year of accountability, reflection, and applied practice. Proof of growth, your capabilities, measured from baseline to finish. That's why it's 12 months and not a weekend. Transformation takes a room, a rhythm, and time. Founding cohort applications are located in the comments. Your what now, what's next, is waiting for the lanes you lay.